Welcome back to the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Southeast Termite and Pest Control. On Friday, folks driving by my house saw a Southeast Termite and Pest Control truck right there in front of my house. But it's because it's fall invader season. I'm a huge believer in their fall invader treatment. I used to get ladybugs and stink bugs sneaking inside my home, and then they'd lay their little eggs, and you'd find little ladybugs every spring. And it was pretty annoying because who wants to kill a ladybug? Not me. I want to hire that out. That's why I call Southeast Termite and Pest Control. They're my pest assassins. The fall invader treatment, folks, do what I do. Call them and trust them to keep your house free of those little pests. They do great work. And like I say, I had them out there Friday because I really believe in this. All right. Let's take a look at some numbers here. These are just changes in the offense from year to year. All right, now we got four options here. There's red arrows down, red arrows up, green arrows down, green arrows up. I'll explain as we go through it. In this case, it all makes sense. Scoring offense. You are down 9.9 points per game from a year ago. 10 points per game off the average from 46 points to 36 points. Rushing offense, you're up 32 yards per game. So you've seen a tweak there, up to 231. You're incredibly balanced because your passing offense is down to 235, down almost 100 yards passing per game. All right, from 326 to 235. Total offense, obviously, passing numbers down, rushing numbers up. It's about a 60-yard difference. You went from 525 a game last year to 466 a game this year. So those are all concerning except for the rushing offense. Now let's move to the next graphic here. Long pass game. This is where a lot of those yards have gone. Now this is passes per game, okay? So passes of 20 yards or more per game. They had 4 per game last year. Halfway through this season, they got 2 per game. So you're down half. 30-yard pass plays, half. 40-yard pass plays, you're down. 50-yard pass plays, you're down. You used to have 1 per game. Now you don't even average 1 per game if you round up. So that deep passing game that we just talked about in the last segment, that's where a lot of your offense has disappeared, and I don't think many people saw that one coming. Let's move to the next graphic here. These are more changes in the passing game. Sacked percentage. This is interesting. In terms of your drop back, 6% sack percentage last year. Now that's dropped. So that's a down arrow that's green. That's a good thing. You're down to 3.6. I did not see that one coming. And it makes me wonder if a lot of that was Hendon Hooker would scramble but not get back to the line of scrimmage, therefore it's a sack. I expected to have more sacks with Milton than with Hooker. It's been the opposite. Passer rating, oh my. You went from 177.5 last year to 135.8 this year. That's down. That's a drop of 42 points. Yards per attempt. This is the scariest number of the whole batch for me. Offense, defense, whatever you got. Yards per attempt last year, 10 yards per attempt. You were down to 7.1 yards per attempt. Folks, that is 13th out of the 14 SEC teams. This Tennessee offense, which it's always a run-first offense, but so many people look at it as a deep ball, bombs-away offense, to be 13th in the conference at yards per attempt, that is scary. Absolutely scary moving forward. You've got to get that number up. Completion percentage, that's dropped from 68 to 62%. Now look here at this next one. This compares Heupel's history, all right? Total offense, scoring offense, yards per attempt. First 3 years at the top there at Tennessee. The 3 years before that are at UCF. The top 3 numbers are all in red because those are the lowest he's ever had. 7.1 yards per attempt is what they're averaging this year. His previous low was 8.5. He is miles below his lowest ever, which tells me we're kind of uncharted territory for this offense, which makes me wonder where this thing's going to go the back half of the season. You have to get that number up. If you don't, if you stay at about 7 yards per attempt, I could see the back half of this season being worse than I ever anticipated. I was thinking, oh, well, worst case scenario are 8-4 this year. Now, I would still, big picture, say the same thing, but when I see that number and know what that means to this offense, how you need those deep shots to keep people from just plugging up your run game, that number scared me. Now, I'll let you guys discuss. Vince, you can start. Anything stand out to you? Do you disagree with me on that point? Anything else you want to go with? Let's talk offense.
I don't. Those are awesome numbers, and I've looked at Milton's throws behind the line of scrimmage a lot. Through 4 games, Joe Milton had more throws behind the line of scrimmage attempts than Hendon Hooker had all last season in 11 games, 39 to 38. He's at 52 now. So I wonder how much trust there is in Joe Milton. Like all those throws to the sideline. Now, last game, they were more between the hashes. They did more in the intermediate to short and not behind the line of scrimmage. But it's still, he's at 52 right now, throws behind the line of scrimmage. You got to get that up. They have to trust the middle of the field. That's another thing. They would attack often with Hooker. Now they're a little bit more hesitant to do so. So is that something that Milton can develop, or is that who he is? But absolutely, those deep shots they're not as efficient at them either. They hit them occasionally, but just not as efficient with them.
Got about 2-3 minutes here total. So
I just think it's a numbers game, right? If you get two safeties deep, how are you throwing the football deep? So what you have to do is run the football against a weak box or hit him with the quick stuff to the outside. Milton is struggling to get the ball out quickly. That's something he hasn't done, and you're seeing guys open quickly, then they get covered. Hit them with the short stuff until they bring those safeties up to try to help out. That's going to open up your ability to throw the ball deep.
One number we didn't see there that is a little bit better for this team maybe than some.
I'm always picking nits.
No,
man.
but interceptions is still low, though, and it relates to what Vince is talking about. They are taking care of the ball. They did have the 2 picks against South Carolina. That's the trend in the wrong direction. They showed in that game why they're not trusting to throw it in the middle of the field. Didn't see a safety at all, threw a pick. Yeah. So they're trying to keep it safe, and the trade-off, as you said, fewer yards per attempt, and that's a scary number. That's the first one that jumped out to me. That's not a good number for a team that wants to throw it 30 times a game.
Yeah, you don't want to be 13th out of 14 in the SEC. Is it fixable?
Every one of these answers goes to the reason that I don't think that they will change a whole lot. Okay, you got Milton, you don't trust him, so you throw more passes behind the line of scrimmage. You throw more passes horizontally. You don't see a lot of big plays, one, because you're not taking the shots. They've got 2 deep safety. You also don't have receivers that are making the big plays, that are taking the 15-yard pass and they turned it into a 45-yard gain. So you're not seeing those kind of things either. That's the reason I think it is just everything in toto goes back to what we said earlier in the show. This is just where you are, and this is what you're going to be. And Vince, when you say, can Milton develop? I'm going to go with no. He's got 8 games left in his college life if they go to a bowl game, which I think they will. I think by this time, he is what he's going to be.
Yeah, and I don't see how the receiving core gets better to help him out. Again, is it 50% Milton? Is it 70% Milton? 90% Milton? The receivers are part of it. But you took Hyatt and Tillman away. Now you take McCoy away. Okay, so now you're down to Keaton, White. I don't count on Dante Thornton. All right, when he's been out there, I haven't seen anything out of him. So there's your challenge. And then you got Kalen Webb and you got Chaz Nimrod. I don't see why this receiving core is now suddenly going to make it better. They faced 2 deep safeties last year too, and they still went for 46 points a game instead of 36. So to me, I don't know that it's fixable, knowing that these are your numbers after you played Virginia, who sucks, Austin Peay, FCS, and UTSA. Now you're getting into the meat. You've only got UConn left in Vandy, but that worries me in terms of how can you flip some switch and fix it.
Being there, you had Hendon Hooker's completion percentage, and your number 68 point something.
Yeah,
and
you
then
went to
down
62.
here's Milton 62 point something.
So
Even
so
with
maybe
all
there's
these,
a big chunk of
6%.
it.
It was 60, from 68 to
Well,
62.
10% of what Hendon did
yes,
dropped.
That's a good point.
And that's including all these little sideways horizontal throws. Okay. All right. When we come back, and we've still got defense to talk about. We've still got some line of scrimmage numbers to talk about. Tempo numbers that are a bit surprising. We've got a lot of stuff to get through as well. But when we come back, I want to take a quick time out to talk about recruiting. Ryan Callahan here. He covers it. Vols are number 9 in the nation. Pretty good. But where does that stand in the SEC? We'll tell you next. Coming back on the Sports Square.